Hello my dear students. In this video we are going to discuss about in-text and exercise question answers of lesson number 5, that is the fundamental unit of life. See first in-text question, page number 59. Who discovered cells and how? I hope you know the answer of this question. In 1665, Robert Hooke discovered cells while examining a thin slice of cork through a self-designed microscope. So he was observing a slice of cork under his self-designed microscope. At that time he observed that cork resembled to the structure of honeycomb. That cork structure, it looks like honeycomb, and also he observed very small tiny compartments, number of small tiny compartments in it, and then he referred those compartments as cells. So next is, why is the cell called the structural and functional unit of life? See, cells form the structure of an entity. All the organisms are made up of cell. A group of cell forms a tissue, further an organ, and ultimately an organ system. So all the organisms, that may be unicellular or multicellular organisms, all are made up of cell, and so cell is called as structural unit of life. Now with that, they perform fundamental functions and life processes such as respiration, digestion, excretion in both uni and multicellular organisms, and so and all those activities it performs independently, and hence cells are referred as structural and functional unit of life. Means all the living organisms are made up of cell, and all all the cells are performing fundamental basic life processes, and so they are called as functional unit of life. So structural and functional unit of life. Next is question, how do substances like carbon dioxide and water move in and out of cell? Page number 61. See, carbon dioxide moves by diffusion. This cellular waste accumulates in high concentration in the cell, whereas the concentration of carbon dioxide in the external surrounding is comparatively lower. This difference in concentration level inside and outside of the cell causes carbon dioxide to diffuse from a region of higher to lower concentration. So as we know that our plasma membrane is selectively permeable. So the plasma membrane of cell is selectively permeable. It allows certain substances to come inside the cell or to move out of the cell by the process of diffusion and osmosis. So here carbon dioxide moves by the process of diffusion, and diffusion always takes place from higher concentration to lower concentration. So as say in the cell, carbon dioxide get accumulate as a cellular waste, so the concentration of carbon dioxide is more inside the cell and less surrounding the cell, and so the carbon dioxide will move from high concentration to the low concentration by the process of diffusion. Now water. Water diffuses by osmosis through the cell membrane. So the diffusion of water in cell is carried out by the process of osmosis. It moves from region of high concentration to lower concentration through a selectively permeable membrane, that is our plasma membrane. Next is, why is the plasma membrane called a selectively permeable membrane? Plasma membrane is called as selectively permeable membrane because it permits the movement of only certain molecules in and out of cell. So it does not allow all the substances, all the molecules to diffuse in the cell or out of the cell. It allows certain substances, certain molecules, and so it is called as selectively permeable. Next question is, can you name the two organelles we have studied that contain their own genetic material? So those two organelles are mitochondria and plastid. Mitochondria is having its own genetic material, it is having its own DNA and ribosomes, and plastid, which is present in plant cell only. So plastid is present only in plant cell and it is also having its own genetic material. If the organization of cell is destroyed due to some physical or chemical influence, what will happen? And the answer is, if the organization of cell is destroyed, it will stop functioning. Such cell has to be discarded and this action will be taken by lysosomes. So if any cell get damaged or its organization get disturbed, then the proper functioning of that cell will stop. In such condition, that cell has to be discarded, that cell has to be destroyed, and this action will be carried out by our lysosome. As we know, lysosome contains digestive enzyme. So that dead cell or that cell which is not functioning properly, that cell will be discarded with the help of strong digestive enzymes present in lysosome. Next question is, why are lysosomes known as suicide bags? Lysosomes are called suicidal bags of the cells because they contain hydrolytic enzymes, strong digestive enzymes. If the cell is damaged, the lysosome undergo autolysis. Lysis means breakdown. Auto means self. So lysosome will break down itself and burst open. It will burst out, and this results in the release of those hydrolytic enzymes. These released enzymes then digest their own cell and ultimately the cell dies, and hence they are called as suicidal bags of the cell. So if the cell get damaged or it will stop its function, at that time lysosome will burst out and the strong digestive enzyme, hydrolytic enzymes which are there in the lysosome, it will come out and it will digest its own cell, and so lysosome is called as suicidal bags. Where are proteins synthesized inside the cell? Protein synthesis in cell takes place in ribosomes, and so ribosomes are referred as protein factories because the synthesis of protein takes place in the ribosomes, and these ribosomes are found attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So protein synthesis takes place inside the ribosomes. Now exercise question answers. Students, I have explained difference between plant and animal cell and prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell in previous videos. You can copy it from those videos. Now question number 3. What would happen if the plasma membrane ruptures or breaks down? If plasma membrane ruptures or breaks down, then molecules of some substances will freely move in and out of the cells. As plasma membrane acts as mechanical barrier, exchange of material from its surroundings through osmosis or diffusion in the cell won't take place. Consequently, the cell would die due to the disappearance of protoplasmic material. So as it is outermost layer and it is selectively permeable, so it allows selective substances to move in and out of the cell. But if it will get ruptured or it will break down, then the substances will freely move in and out of the cell. Secondly, this plasma membrane acts as a mechanical barrier for the exchange of material from the surrounding. And if that plasma membrane is absent or not there, then cell cannot be alive. Cell become dead. Next is, what would happen to the life of the cell if there was no Golgi apparatus? See the function of Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus consists of stacks of membrane bound vesicles. So it consists of stacks of bag like structure, vesicles. The function of Golgi apparatus is storage of substance, packaging of substances, manufacture of substances. So without Golgi apparatus, the cells will be disabled from packaging, dispatching materials that were produced by the cells. So the packaging, modification and dispatch of substances will not be possible in the cell. And the Golgi apparatus is also involved in the formation of cells, and hence in the absence of Golgi apparatus cell will not be produced, and the transportation of the substances will get affected, as it helps in packaging, modification and dispatch of substances. Next is, which organelle is known as powerhouse of the cell? Why? See, mitochondria are known as powerhouse of the cell because it releases the energy required for different activities of life. Mitochondria releases energy in the form of ATP molecule, that is adenosine triphosphate molecules, essential for the numerous chemical activities of life, and hence ATP is often referred as energy currency of the cell. This mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell because we required energy for various activities, for different chemical activities also, and in the mitochondria energy is stored in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate molecules. This ATP is known as energy currency of the cell, and so as it provides energy in the form of ATP, so it is called as powerhouse of the cell. So as per requirement, the energy is released from the mitochondria for different activity, and so mitochondria is called as powerhouse of the cell as it releases energy in the form of ATP. Next question is, where do the lipids and proteins constituting the cell membrane get synthesized? So the answer of this question is, lipids and proteins are synthesized in endoplasmic reticulum. See, lipids are synthesized in smooth endoplasmic reticulum and proteins are synthesized in rough endoplasmic reticulum, because on rough endoplasmic reticulum ribosomes are present. How does an amoeba obtain its food? Amoeba obtain the food by the process of endocytosis. So an amoeba obtain its food by the process of endocytosis. See, as its cell membrane is flexible, so to capture the food particle, it forms finger-like projection called pseudopodia. With the help of pseudopodia, it captures the food, store it in the food vacuole, and amoeba secrete different digestive enzymes to bring about digestion of that engulfed particle, that is once the food get trapped. So amoeba obtain its food by the process of endocytosis. In this process, it forms food vacuole with the help of flexible plasma membrane. What is osmosis? The process of movement of water molecule from a region of higher concentration to region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis. So in osmosis, semi-permeable membrane is required. Next question is question number 9. Carry out the following osmosis experiment. Take 4 peeled potato halves and scoop each one out to make potato cups. So one of these potato cups should be made from a boiled potato. So out of these 4, one potato should be boiled potato. Put each potato cup in a trough containing water. Now see, keep cup A empty. Put 1 teaspoon of sugar in cup B, 1 teaspoon of salt in cup C. Put 1 teaspoon sugar in the boiled potato cup. So out of 4, 1 potato should be boiled. Now keep these for 2 hours. Then observe the 4 potato cups and answer the following. Explain why water gather in the hollowed portion of B and C. So you have to make this setup, that take 4 peeled potato, make its potato cup. Out of these 4, 1 should be boiled, and you have to keep cup A empty as it is. You have to put sugar in cup B, salt in cup C, and sugar in boiled potato cup, that is cup D. After 2 hours, you will observe that in hollowed portion of cup B and C, water is there. So water gathers in the cup B and C. What is the answer? Water accumulates in the hollowed portions of B and C as difference in the water concentration is observed. Thereby endosmosis occurs as the cells act as a semi-permeable membrane. See, the cells of potato are having plasma membrane, and as we know, whenever there is difference in concentration, then concentration of water, then water will move from high concentration to low concentration. See, when we put sugar or salt in cup B and C, the water concentration is less in the outer environment of the cell and water is more in the potato cell. So the water will move out of the cell and it will get accumulate in the hollowed portion of B and C. Next question is, why is potato A necessary for this experiment? Potato A is essential in this experiment as it is significant to compare different scenarios seen in potato cups B, C and D. The potato A in this experiment clearly show that the potato cavity on its own cannot bring about water movement. So A is necessary for the comparison between the other cups B, C and D, and we observe that in potato A water accumulation does not take place. So it shows that the water movement does not take place on its own. Water movement takes place only when there will be the difference in the concentration of water. Next question is, explain why water does not gather in hollowed out portions of A and D. Now see, cup A does not show any change in water flow concentration or osmosis to occur, which requires the concentration to be higher than the other. See, in A there is no difference in the concentration of water inside the cell and out of the cell of potato, and so no water accumulation. Now what about cup D? Cells in cup D are dead as that potato is boiled potato, and so the cells are dead. Thus, there is no existence of semi-permeable membrane of water flow for water flow, and consequently osmosis does not occur. So as there is dead cell, so no plasma membrane and no diffusion of substances or no osmosis of water takes place, and so in D water does not accumulate. Next question is, which type of cell division is required for growth and repair of body, and which type is involved in formation of gamete? See, there are two ways of cell division, mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis is the type of cell division which involve in the growth and repair of body. So in this cell division, the diploid cells are formed from one parent cell, two daughter cells are formed. And another type of cell division is meiosis. Meiosis is a type of cell division which results in the formation of gametes. So this type of cell division takes place during the gamete formation, and mitosis takes place during growth and the repair of body. So this is all in-text and exercise question answers of our lesson number 5. Student, you note it down in your notebook and complete homework of your lesson number 5. Thank you and have a nice day.